Okay. And looking forward to getting to see everyone. And hopefully as you guys continue with us too, as you come to our monthly preps in Leadership Academy, it's not just getting the information, but it's also getting to see your friends and your family and your mentors. And especially as you get to go on the trips Alex and I were just talking about and get to know each other and spending more time together. That's one of my favorite parts too, is not only getting to grow and learn, but getting to see each other and connect with our brothers and sisters and moms and dads, aunts and uncles, however you want to put that. So I'm excited to dig in for today and for some of the opening comments to start things off. I know we're officially into October right now, and so I really thought it was appropriate. As a division manager, I've been working on the last couple of months, starting to think about, hey, where have we been the last couple of years? Where have we been so far for 2019? Where are we right now as a division? And then starting to look ahead at 2020 and 2021 has been something we've been working on. And so I felt like as our current leaders and up-and-coming leaders that this was important to share with you guys. So for some of our next level group in the audience, as I share some opening thoughts, I'd be thinking about this, and our district team in the back, I'd be looking at this of, hey, what of this do I share with my team? When I go back to my team meeting this week, as I'm coming together with my 2020 plans, what are some of the things I should be visualizing for my team and sharing? And then for some of you guys that are here as a first year candidate, is obviously seeing, hey, where do I fit with this? What am I excited about? What are some of the goals of our team as a DC Metro team as a whole? And tying you guys kind of into some of the bigger picture of where we're going. So I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit of that today. So first place I wanted to begin is give you just a quick snapshot of where we've been just the last couple of years. And with eliminating some of the specific details, for 2017 and 2018, we experienced sales growth for both years in a row, which is exciting. So whenever your organization is moving forward again, that's a positive thing. We also increased in our office count, so our number of offices, our number of leaders, our number of managers has been increasing as we go, and our leadership team is growing, which has been a lot of fun to see. So we experienced 2 years in a row of growth. More immediately, where have we been the last couple of weeks since we were last together? So we were together in September. Over the last month, there's been a lot that has happened in our time as a company and as a division. So one thing is we just came back from our SLC event, our Strategic Leadership Conference. And this is pretty cool. I know I shared on our virtual prep, but for 33 years, so this was Strategic Leadership Conference number 33. It's kind of like the Super Bowls, right, on how they count these as we go. 33 years in a row, the corporation has made the investment of hundreds of thousands of dollars to fly in every district manager, every division manager, every company executive, academic advisory board, PR companies, right, PR section, all the stuff, all the people that are involved in this thing, and to fly us all into one location and to invest and pour into our growth and development as a leadership team for 2+ days. It's amazing. You're treated like royalty, like when from when you fly in to like where we stay, or just awesome accommodations. It includes like little gifts along the way, and then the best of the best in the company and outside of the company come to speak at this, where the goal is just for us to grow as leaders. And one of the things I really respect about our company is the fact that in up years, in down years, right, and you can probably imagine in 33 years, there's a little bit of everything mixed in here. This isn't something that like got cut in the budget, right? Or they said, oh, well, this year we won't do it, right? Or, oh, we just don't have the money for it this go round. Is that, hey, even despite whether it's the best year we've ever had, like we're having right now, again, this year for 2019 as a corporation, or I'm sure there's been some years where it wasn't, they double down and they keep investing in our leadership and our growth. And I think that just says a lot about the company that we work with. We know the product's awesome, but it's great to also hear that commitment to growth and commitment to great leadership and making sure that that's something that we're a part of. So we had a chance to represent with our DC Metro squad there. This was my original manager. So I worked and started in the branch office in Carroll County, as many of you guys know. And then I spent 3 summers working here in Towson, just around the corner on Cromwell Bridge Road, just about 2 minutes from this office location. And this is my original division manager, my mentor in the business. And one of my favorite things is getting to reconnect with, he's a division manager down in Florida now. And with him moving, created an opportunity for me to be promoted several years ago. So thank you, Mr. Jeff Gamboa. And neat to see, like, he's still one of my closest friends, mentors, all these years later. And so SLC is obviously about growth, and it's also about just connecting with all these amazing people that you get to meet throughout the nation. And one of the cool things about trips, travel, conferences, we'll have a chance for that in just a few weeks at our Olean trip to keep building on that. And then our company always does something crazy and epic, I feel like, everywhere we go. One of the things about Vector Marketing is creating signature experiences. So even though we were there for a work conference, when the conference finished up on the second day, they always do something cool. They rented out the entire Anheuser-Busch Budweiser. I don't know. Anyway, they rented out the whole thing to throw us a party. Bars, live music, food everywhere, and like games and whatever else for us to hang out. It's like, who are we, right? Like, we're the night people, and we just get to do all this like amazing, cool stuff. I know I shared some of the other stories while we've traveled for national trips, and can't wait to see what the heck they come up with Paris. But it's stuff you wouldn't like normally do on your family vacation. Even though I traveled with my family, it's like, oh yeah, we rented out the Sistine Chapel while we were in Rome, and we just rented out Budweiser while we were there in St. Louis to throw a party. And so I love that just cool signature experience stuff that wasn't even on your bucket list, but like you add and then, like cross off as you go. We also sent 14 plus people to the Bahamas just last weekend. So we have several of you guys here with the tan. That several others do not right now. So we had Courtney Swaim in the back, Sebastian, Colin James, MK that won. We had Alex Rubin winning her first trip, Leah Rock, Heather Fitzgerald, Chris Starrett, Anthony in the front here winning his first trip, Lydia, Paul winning his first trip, which is awesome, and Sophie winning her first trip to the Bahamas. Represent this squad. This was like a picture I took from one of your Facebook. I was like, look at that water and look at that sand. If you were in the Bahamas, now you know you have to hit every trip moving forward for the rest of your life. Like, there's a good reason why the same people go on these all the time. And if you didn't hit the Bahamas, today you're going to hear about, starting on October 25th, how you can start reserving your spot for our next trip that we'll have, hint, hint, for winter break. Look how awesome this picture is. When you're just, when you're hanging out in the pool, like overlooking the ocean, just like solid day, We had over 100 winners from the Northeast region go. So I was talking to Sophie and she was like, I went to a resort with my family when I was like 14. This wasn't quite the same. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. When you, when you travel with 100 Vector people, you're going to have a freaking good time. Sometimes a little too good of a time, which we also talked about this week. I also want to give some shout outs to our assistant managers who are holding things down while your managers were away. And one of the things I also love about travel is the opportunity for newer people to get the chance to kind of flex a little bit and do it on their own. So if you were an assistant manager this past week and you were helping to run the show while your manager was either at SLC, Bahamas, or both, if you could please stand up, I'd like to recognize you. So, special thanks to Kayla, holding things down in North Baltimore while we were away. Fernando in Central Baltimore. John and Evan in the pilot this past week. So awesome job. Your manager wasn't going to be there, so everything you did was extra this week. Hopefully you had a chance to learn a little bit, grow a little bit, have a chance to do a few things on your, mess up a little bit while no one was watching directly, right? And also do some things really well where maybe you surprised yourself a little bit and had a couple of good conversations or a couple of things come together. So if we could give these guys one more round of applause, thank you for your great work so far. So it's been a busy last couple of years, busy last couple of weeks, even since we were together in September. Also we've been like building some teams and selling some knives and doing some other stuff around all of this craziness. So where are we now? Fall, basics, obviously, a must. If you haven't been to your local pumpkin patch, you got to check it out. Carter looks thrilled to be taking this picture with me. But one of the things I love about fall is I love the transition, Every once in a while in the middle of winter, I think to myself, why the freak do I live in Maryland where it's cold and snowing and that's not my thing? And one of the things I always have to remind myself is I love that we have 4 seasons. I love that as soon as you're ready kind of for summer to be over, like you're kind of over the humidity and hotness, it's like there's change coming, right? Even if it doesn't happen until October. But there's a transition. And just when we're kind of getting sick of fall a little bit, right? It's like, you're like, ooh, the first snowfall, right? And like, oh, you still, even at 35, I still get excited to like go outside and play in the snow and like do all the stuff, even if it's not like my main fun thing. And then just when you're kind of like over winter and you're over the cold, it's like spring happens, and there's that transition of green again and growing and flowers start sprouting up and the weather starts changing a little bit, right? And just when you're ready for like pool season and headed to the beach and doing all that sort of stuff, we have a vector trip that happens in winter break. Also the summer, right? Happens for those that don't get to travel the world all the time. But I love that transition and change. And if I was to describe where we are right now as a division, I would say transition and change. I would say we're at one of those spots where our division is right there in terms of explosive growth. And if I was to describe to you where we are, that's what I would say is that, hey, we've had a lot of really great things coming together the last couple years, and we're right there. But we're in the midst of that change and that evolution happening. I just had to put in another picture just as my mom duties that has nothing to do with my topic right this second, but that's so cute. I love getting to dress your kid in like whatever you want to, I'm like, I buy all clothes online that I'm like, I would wear, I'm like, skinny jeans, yes. I'm like, Adidas, oh, check, right? Like, North Face, love it. Like, everything, yeah. I got to give my husband a lot of credit. He like somehow knows how to shop for a girl on the regular, so he does a great job of ordering her stuff online. So where are we right now for 2019? 5% sales growth right now as a division. And so it's always positive when it's, hey, 2017 growth, 2018 growth, 2019 growth, right? So the last 3 years in a row. Hey, I think 5% could be way higher, right? Certainly my goal was higher for us as a division in terms of growth, but I'll take it when it happens, right? You're moving in the right direction. We're a little over $2.3 million in sales so far year to date with the rest of October, November, December left to go, 12 tab weeks left. We're up 16% in recruiting growth. So we've been building our team 16% bigger than we were even this time 1 year ago, which is positive. We've positively impacted 1,208 people so far for the year that we've added new people to our DC Metro team. For some of those people, it's, hey, working for, God bless you, 5 days before I start spring semester, over the winter break. And for some people, it's, hey, working as a summer job. And then it's for some people where they've made this a longer term gig. Office growth. We've got Courtney in the pilot. Sales growth so far for the fall. Over 8% up in fall total sales. Colin in the North Baltimore team, sales growth of 57% so far year to date over this time last year. Chris Sterrett, sales growth is 17% so far for the year. So we've got some offices doing some cool things in terms of progress. And then, of course, we've got our new DM squad that they didn't even have anything to compare to last year. They're just opening their offices as of May and making some forward progress, learning and growing and getting better. And that's a Kevin Garcia in the back and a Connor Lugo Harris and a Heather Fitzgerald in the back there of our new DMs, who also just attended their very first SLC, by the way, which is exciting. We've got some people making some big moves in savings. We've got Lydia over $14,000 in savings as a college student just from her summer work while she was here. Leah Rock increasing from when we were together last time, now over $6,200 in savings rather. And hey, was our number 2 person in savings last month, and I love that she still added another, what was it, $600 or something when we were together last month, $700 when we were together last month, right? Because, hey, I'm not comfortable with where I am just because I'm in spot number 2. Hey, I want to keep challenging myself to build wealth, to increase that financial status there. Seabass over $4,000, MK over $4,000 so far in our savings. These are some of our top people. Where are we right now as a company, as a division? This year we're celebrating 70 years of Cutco. And, you know, sometimes at Leadership Academy we're spending a lot of time talking about, hey, developing our team and recruiting a great team and managing ourselves and time management. All those things are important. But let's not take for granted the fact that all this is able to be possible because we have such a fantastic product. 70 years. There's not that many products I know that have been around for 70 years, making the product almost the same way, same thing, same quality, same everything that it's been for the past 70 years. How cool is it that when we sit down with a customer, every single time, we know it's the best product of its type anywhere in the world. It's probably one of the best consumer products in the entire world. We know when it shows up to their house. We know they're going to love it. We know it's going to do what we said it's going to do. We know it's built on honesty and integrity, and we know it's built, we know all of those things. God bless you. How exciting is that it's something we never have to think about? Hey, we know without question the customer service and the Forever Guarantee is amazing. You can't beat it. There's nothing else like it. We never have to wonder, hey, will our customers be taken care of 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? They've been doing it like this for 70 years. Isn't that exciting, by the way? And so one of the cool things, too, about our leadership is we know when we're teaching someone in training how to sell Cutco, we never have to wonder, I hope this is good. I hope it works, right? I hope their customers like it. Like, we just know for 70 years, we know that what we're teaching them, what we're going to have them experience is going to be so exciting. Where we are is we've been, there's articles coming up every day right now. I just saw another one last night that came out. And Mike Monroe shared with the Vector Marketing team, just as of last night, that we are rated in terms of work-life balance, that we are rated one of the top companies in the United States to work for work-life balance, which is a growing priority, especially for people in my age group and your age group, right? Which is exciting. So, but this is USA Today, rated number 12, best place to work. And I don't want you to take that lightly. That's of all the places, of all the companies, we are up there, best places to work with some of the biggest names ever. How cool is that? You should feel really good about that. When we're running an interview or adding people to our team, and they're like, oh yeah, I had a friend who interviewed here in 1999, and they weren't sure if it was for them. It's like, okay, cool. Well, according to USA Today, we're up there with places like, Bain and Facebook and Google, so, it doesn't work out for everyone, but, USA Today has pretty good things to say from one of the best places to work in the entire United States. What do you think I should give you a shot to work with our team here? Right? It's exciting that we should take that pride. Referenced in places like Wall Street Journal for our experience that we have here. In the article, it talks about how Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies look for people with vector marketing experience. Not just the people that went through training, but really, what did you do with it? Ideally, those people that went through leadership training not just once, but hey, they were assistant manager during the fall and spring or winter break. They ran a branch again, right? They have actual experience going through not just our sales programs, right, but all of our programs to prepare them. Within the academic world, DECA named DECA's National Advisory Board Partner of the Year for 2018. So for those that are in high school programs, academic programs, this is the spot. This is the spot to be. Happiest employees made the list again as Vector Marketing. It's an exciting spot to be. And where we are is that Vector's been getting more and more and more and more credibility and recognition as being one of the best places in the world to work. This isn't a surprise to any of us, but how cool is it that now, throughout the nation, in documented, in publications, that's the case. And we've got an obligation to make sure that we're sharing that with everyone else. Not just selfishly for ourselves, but we know this spot is good, but how many other people can we let be influenced by the best place for work-life balance? The best place for marketing students and DECA students to work and get experience. The best place, according to Wall Street Journal, for someone to prepare for future endeavors. One of the best places, according to USA Today, one of the best companies to work for. That's exciting. I'm so excited for 2019, the rest of it, and 2020 to continue sharing that. It's easy to get comfortable. This is my first and only real job. And so sometimes it's easy to forget about how special this place is. Al DiLeonardo always shares this quote, and this is what I think about when I think about where we are, right? As he says, there's no place like this place, anywhere near this place, so this must be the place. And every time he says it, which is usually every message he gives, is you can count on him sharing that slide, anyone that's listened to Al speak before. And every single time it's a great reminder of, man, we've got a really special thing going on here. So that's nice to know where we've been and where we are, but let's talk about where we're going as a team. We're going to Paris. Yeah. So far we've got the pilot, including myself and Courtney, that have locked in the trip. Lydia Frensos from our branch team. Colin James just officially tabbed in for reserving his spot to Paris. And we've got 12 tab weeks left, district managers, for the close of the year to secure your spot. So including this week, it's 12 tab weeks left before the close of 2019 to finalize your spot. And let's bring 100% of our crew. Well, where are we going? We also are continuing to build our next layers of leaders. And that's where this crew comes into play. And working on some of the skills that we've already been talking about, right? Since the beginning of this whole thing in August, or since for some of you guys a couple of years ago, and building on. But we're going to talk about John Maxwell's levels of leadership and relationships, which we've started talking about already. Dave Ramsey, which we're going to build on today as we keep working on this. Resume building, public speaking, growing alongside of other leaders. And so our program so far has been checking many of these boxes, and we're going to continue working on it together. We're going to have a competitive race the next couple of months as we start securing spots for 2020. And I know I've shared with you guys, but our matrix scoring system on how this works. There's a copy again at your chairs today. But just like there's grades in class, right, to see how you're comparing to other people in your class, where are your standings. Just like if someone's applying for a residency program, right, there's a matching program, and same thing here. And so we're upfront and telling you since August how our candidates will be scored, and you have influence on what that looks like, right? And out of the possible score of 25, I'm excited to see our competition increase over the next couple weeks as we get closer and closer to making some decisions. We started working on our Leadership Academy Savings Program, and our goal is for everyone in Leadership Academy to have $2,000 to $4,000 plus saved by the time we get to the spring, by the time we get to March Leadership Academy event. And last month was our $100 checkpoint. This month is our $250 checkpoint. I saw many people adding checks, money orders, Venmos this morning as you guys were walking in. If you haven't turned yours in yet, you want to make sure that you see Courtney. She's got the envelope there that we'll make sure gets sent up to Olean. So excited to see this, of financial progress of this group here. And I know it's not always easy making those decisions in the moment. I still struggle with them sometimes. I'm like, oh, but the new bag. Oh, but this one more thing, right? All this. And I still struggle with making those decisions sometimes because I'm not a natural saver. I'm someone that's had to learn and work on that habit. My husband, natural saver. Me, not so much. So I still am constantly making those decisions, right, and working on those habits. But I'm so grateful I started early, right, on making those habits like we've been talking about. Where we're going next is we're going to Olean. I'm so excited about this. I know Courtney's going to talk about this today, but next month we won't be together in the Towson office, as great as this location is. We will be there seeing the Cutco products. Not only just our squad, but we're going to be there with the whole Northeast region, which is just special. We only come together as a whole team a few times during the entire year. It's so exciting. And this is a cool trip for multiple reasons. When I was a new candidate, I'm like, what's so cool about Olean, New York? And not a lot is cool about Olean, New York, I'll be honest with you. The town itself, not going to knock your socks off. In fact, it's a little eye-opening that people still live like this. But what I will say is the experience, am I not wrong though? I mean, what I'll say though is the experience is so special that even all these years later, I look forward to the Olean trip every year. It's not only getting to see our whole crew together, which is really special, our Leadership Academy class for this year of our team and all the other teams of the up-and-comers, people that are best athletes and best at academics and best in all that they're doing. And we have all those people together, but from each division, and then we all come together. It's really special. But also what's really special about it is just the experience of what we get to see and feel while you're there. And so this is an opportunity to get to meet and greet with our CEOs, our CFOs, which how often as like a relatively new person working for a company does the CEO say, yeah, come on in. Yeah, no problem. Love to meet you. Have dinner with you a little bit, right? Sit at your tables, greet. I mean, like, it's awesome. How many companies say, hey, we're going to fully open our doors and we want you to see like all the intricate working parts of how everything's done and what goes into making our product. As cool as it was going to Budweiser and having this big party, they said they were going to have tours. And what the tours were is you got to tour the stables where the Clydesdales lived. And that wasn't really what I imagined when I thought about tour, because I've been to Olean 16 times, and like literally they're like, yeah, we're going to show you everything. Like no curtains, like how everything's made. How cool is that we get to see how a $250 million company is run? If you're into the engineering side, like you get to see all that stuff. I'm not, but I got to see. I did think it was still really cool, and the thermoresin beads and the heat induction and all that cool stuff. But what was really cool is seeing the love and the care that goes into the product. And there is a level of no matter what you're going to end up doing in the future, it's a unique opportunity to get to see all of this with no curtains, no nothing, and like get exposed to everything, meeting corporate executives of a big company, but also to just get to see and feel how they've created this culture, even in a factory, even in a customer service. It's no other way to explain it other than you have to be there, you have to witness it, and you get to feel it. For anyone that's been to Olean before, can I get an amen? Is that true?
Amen.
It's so, we've had a lot of people already go. It's really a special experience. I would say one of the signature experiences of being a Leadership Academy candidate. And then anyone that's a district manager candidate, so raise your hand if you're a district manager candidate. You're either graduating this year, etc. We also take you guys for a special day where we'll go to Niagara Falls, go out for a nice dinner, continue recruiting you, and you continuing to kind of interview us through the process as we get closer to a final decision what's next. All right, where else are we going? It sounds kind of crazy, but just a few weeks from now, you're going to be getting ready for winter break, which is exciting. Some of you guys are like, oh gosh, I should probably start going to that class that started a while ago, or I should turn in my first homework assignment. But I know that might be terrifying and exciting all at the same time, but you guys know, I mean, we're already in October, right? A month from now, we're going to be at Thanksgiving, and then 1 month after that, you're going to be at winter break. Like, it'll be here before you know it. And what's exciting is we have a special winter break program where the neat thing is you've already been through the training. You're already at 20%, 25, 30%, 35, 40%, wherever you are. So the cool thing is you're already making 3 times as much, 4 times as much as when you started. And now you'll just get to pick up from there this winter break. Without having to go through the training, without having to go through, you can probably imagine holidays are also an amazing time to be working with customers, which is exciting. And it's also an awesome time to lock in a spot for the summer in one of the leadership roles, to prove yourself, to work on your training, and a fantastic time to win a trip on top of it. So one of the neat things is usually by the end of the semester, most people have blown through most of their dollars besides our savers. But if you just started this summer and you only had a chance to make a couple grand, right? You had to do books and you had to do fraternity dues and sorority dues and all that sort of stuff. This is a chance to re-up, right? Make a few $1,000s over the winter break. If you already have been good at saving, hey, this is your chance to add on some more thousands, right, onto that, especially as things close out for tax season. You still have all the way to April 15th to max out things like your Roth IRA and some of the other investments that we're talking about. So you've got a chance for winter break to really crush it for that, which is exciting. I also want to share with you guys where we're going in the longer term vision. So not just between now and winter break, but a few things we see for 2020 and beyond. So I wanted to share with you guys, I know I mentioned before our mission statement. And our mission statement to provide the best personal, professional, and financial opportunity for young adults in the DC metro area. But I also wanted to share with you why this is the mission. And at SLC, Brian Hurlman shared with us, our Virginia Titan division manager, kind of shared with us the why. And I thought this was so perfect as supporting, why do we care about providing the best personal, professional, and financial opportunity? Brian said, I believe that today's youth is our future, and that the traditional path of get good grades, get an internship, and get a job when you graduate is leaving soon-to-be college graduates unprepared to thrive in the new economy, condemning them unable to contribute to impact their families, their communities, and their vocation in the manner which they've passionately envisioned for themselves. And so when I think about why we're doing what we're doing, I know for some of us, yes, it's so we can become better versions. Yes, it's so we can work on ourselves and create options. When I share why we're doing what we're doing, when you get to the level of playing a role as a branch manager or district manager with us, this is why we're doing what we're doing. I don't know about you, but that is an exciting mission to me. And so when I share what we're building for 2020, here's how we want to do it. Is this sounding familiar, by the way? For any of you that were on our Leadership Academy, Simon Sinek, start with what? Is this? Okay, all right. So one of our missions for 2020, one of my missions for 2020 as our leader, is we've had these 4 anchors since I was a district manager. These were born even when I was a leader, right? And I've shared them with you guys before. True professionalism, explosive team building, right? High standards in sales performance, aggressive pursuit of growth. But one of my missions for 2020 is for us to strengthen these anchors. is for us to get stronger in these 4 spots as a division. True professionalism. It doesn't mean we have to be perfect all the time. Let's be honest, we're human beings, right? I make mistakes. I probably make more than most of you guys all combined together, right? Like, I've made more mistakes in that time of being here. But being tough about what we're willing to tolerate, right? Drawing the line in the sand in some places of what we're willing to tolerate and what we're not. And one of the spots, and I know one of my weak spots as a leader, is that I love and care about people so deeply that sometimes I love them so much, I give them like too many chances, right? Or I'm like, oh, but they're really awesome and I really love them, so I won't give them that hard of a time about this one, right? And in 2020, as a division, for us to take the next step forward, it means that I will need to be a tougher coach, even when I really love and care about someone, for where we're going as a division, to strengthen the core of what we're all about. And I'm looking for people that are willing to be down with that. Meaning they're down to be toughed a little bit, coached a little bit tougher. They're on board with having integrity. They're on board with being honest no matter what. And I get that's not everyone's deal. And that's okay. Not everyone has to work here. I don't have to be the great fit for every person, right? This doesn't have to be the perfect fit for everyone. But we're looking for the people on our team that they are down for that. That they are about honesty and integrity and treating people well and being kind no matter what. No matter what. Explosive team building. I think some of our teams, including some of our district managers, maybe even myself, have become a little too selective when we think about building our teams. I think we've become a little prima donna of who we're looking for in terms of adding to our teams. One of my goals for 2020 is for us to be good finders, to not view people as they currently are, but with our training, with our coaching, with our leadership, that we can help them take another step forward. And guess what? We need the really great people too, right? Like, we want the really good people that as soon as they come in, they're already freaking nails. They're amazing. That's you guys, right? We get it. We want those people. But we also want to help influence some of the people that this is their shot. This is their chance. This can be that life-changing opportunity. And that's part of what we do. High standards in sales performance. One of the things that I want us to do in 2020 is to strengthen this. I want there to be pride in your sales report for the week. As a sales rep, as a branch, as a DM. I'm not saying you should base your self-worth on your sales number, but you should care what your results are. And if they're not good, it's about how you respond. We have talented people in our division. We have an amazing market. One of my goals is to strengthen our push programs this year. We can go bigger as a division, and I think we've done some good things, but now's time for the next gear. It's time for the next level. Aggressive pursuit of growth is that we're being humble. We're not just saying, well, that's how we've done it, so that's how we're going to do it for 2020. But being aggressive to get the answers of what are the best in the world doing? What are the best of the best doing? Are you studying your craft? Next level group. You know what you need to know. Are you studying it even if it's not the assignment for the week? Are you studying it because you're aggressively getting better? District managers, you know what it takes to run the business. Are you aggressively getting better in those areas? First years, you might not know what you're supposed to know, but hey, can you just be aggressive about learning something new even every week and where that can get you? The name of our division is Impact, DC Metro Impact. Well, what does that mean in my eyes? It ties into that mission, right? It's making that positive impact. When I think about someone that impacts, we're looking for people that they're life changers. They're leaders that are willing to be those people that believe in someone else. They're people they're community changers. That when they open a branch or a district, their goal isn't to sell just a lot of knives. It's, hey, I'm going to change this community for the better. Whether it's this summer, this year, the next 20 years, that, hey, when I open my squad here, when I open the doors to this place is so special that I'm building, that I'm going to change Baltimore, Maryland for the better. I'm going to change Carroll County for the better. Harford County will never be the same when I open my district office here. I want people that are life changers, community changers, world changers. And it starts with us, and then one person at a time, right? One person at a time. It might be one person in training. It might be 10 people in training. It might be 50 people in training. But that we're doing it every week. You know, impact is about how many people. So far, 1,208 people so far for this year in DC Metro. I think that's exciting. But for 2020, how can we impact another 1,500 to 2,000 people this year just in this area? I'm not saying it's going to change the world overnight, but you got to start somewhere. Hey, and 1,500 to 2,000 is still pretty powerful, wouldn't you say? I used to want to be a teacher growing up. And one is I figured out how much money they made. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't really align. And then two is you get a class of 20 or 30, and that's exciting. But what about a class of 200 people in your organization that you could possibly impact this year? What about 400 people on your team that you could possibly impact? What about 2,000 or more that we could impact in our division this year? That's what I think about when I think about impact. And we're looking for people to band with us that they're on board to do this. The knives are awesome. We need those. We need those 70-year product that's amazing. But on our leadership team, whether you're playing a role as an assistant manager, a branch manager, or a district manager, we're looking for world changers. And it might start with your team of 10, 20, 50. But we want people that really want to make a big impact. Over the last couple of months, when I start thinking about what's next for us as a team, I think about 2020 is about competing regionally in the Northeast region. Hey, can we be number one or number two at every event? Can we be number one or number two in finishing the year for the Northeast region? As we compete with New York, and we compete with Connecticut, and we compete with New England, and all the other 7 divisions in the New England. And that's exciting. That's a first step. But what's really exciting is what I see for 2021. And that's us competing on a national level. Us competing for a Division Silver Cup. Us competing for being the premier division in the company. And if it's not the number 1 spot, but we're up there, where we've made some progress, that's where I see our squad going. We've got the talent. We've got the up-and-coming people. Many of them in the room right now that I see playing a role for this. And what do I see it looking like? How does that come together to be nationally competitive? It might be a little hard to see from your seats, and that's okay. All the specifics aren't important, but here's what I envision. Not necessarily just for 2020, but over the next couple years. I know this is going to be a process, but here are a few years out where I see us going. As a division here, having a pilot that's doing $2 million plus per year. And a Dom that's heading that up full-time to dedicate towards that. 3-pillar district managers. And what do I mean by pillars? I mean pillars, right? You guys could probably visualize what a pillar is, right? It's a structural part that's key to holding things together, right? And that we need 3 strong pillars plus our pilot to really take the next step forward. You know, being a pillar district manager means performing at $1 million level. And maybe not right away in their first year, right? But it's maybe getting that 500 or 750 for the year. And then for someone to getting to $1 million team performance. It means doing it the right way when you're a pillar manager, right? Someone that fits these 4 anchors. Someone that's on board with our mission of what we're doing. Someone that's building things together as the pillars work together, they're competing and they're challenging each other, right? And there's this healthy competition and teamwork of things coming together. For one of those pillars to be an assistant division manager as things get bigger to help lead the division and play a role there. Events program. I'm in the process of interviewing a new events coordinator right now. And right now this program is several hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I see this in the next couple of years, the mission's to build this to over $1 million program. And some people playing a role there, a coordinator, an events team of 15 to 20 plus people that are working. We have, you can probably imagine, hundreds of events throughout the DC Metro Division. Some of them we're working currently, some of them we haven't even touched or explored yet. There's so much opportunity there for our events program. We have people, by the way, within the company who are selling $500 and $600 plus $1,000 a year personally working events programs. Do the math on that. We're not talking about just chump change opportunity here. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, right, in annual income for someone to make this a career position. And for someone to do while they're in school. District team, to have 7 to 10 district managers. Branch class of 7 to 10 people. And we want some leaders there, some people like our branches that are competing on the national standings. This year we had one district manager in the top 20. Our goal is, hey, can we have 2, 3, 4 people on the national standings or more for this next year? A CGC program, that's our closing gift consultant program. These are working with realtors. These are working with loan officers. These are doing corporate gifts. Having a team leader that we're just bringing in someone new here in the division now and having another 3 to 5 people work under them where they're producing $1 million or more. Our top CGC rep right now for the year, I think is somewhere around $600,000, $700,000 in Cutco sales so far for the year. A lot of this being residual business that they've built with their client base. Isn't it kind of funny to think that, like, when you come home for the interview, my dad said things like, I don't think people really buy knives like that. Yeah. Are you sure you can make money selling knives? Yeah, in fact, some people are making about a lot times more than what you made working for the state, right? It's kind of crazy to start thinking about. And a CSP leader with several other Cutco sales professionals who are using this as an opportunity to make 6 figures a year with the flexibility, with the opportunity of making 50% here with our squad. You do the math on this thing, and this is a $10 million division. So as I said, I don't see this happening for 2020, but 2020 is one of the next building blocks of getting here. It's starting to fill in some of the next layers here. It's starting to fill in and lock in some of the next positions. And I've talked to several of you about playing a role in that. So how do you play a role right now? How do you potentially play a role for the next couple months if you say, hey, you know, my values align with some of the ones here. Hey, I'm excited about that mission. Hey, I could get down with being a community changer, a life changer, a world changer. Hey, I'm excited about that. I don't know exactly what I want to do, but it sounds exciting. How do you play a role? Being funded and trained is the first step. And I shared this with you at the September prep, and it doesn't change, right? I'll share it with you again another month from now and farther out from now because these are the answers. They don't change. Funded and trained. So that means funded means hitting the savings goals or exceeding the savings goals so that 1, you've got the financial savvy to coach other people financially. 2 is that we see your commitment. 3 is that we're seeing that you've got good habits and self-control and self-management to do this. 4 is so that if you do earn a spot for branch or district, you've got a little bit of your own capital even though we fund the majority of it. So we want someone to have a little skin in the game. It wouldn't really be running your own franchise, your own organization if you didn't. And number 2 is trained. Being trained. Well, how do you get funded and trained? CPO, selling Cutco, you've got an opportunity to make great income here. Courtney's going to talk about today the Ole and Push. If you haven't been selling, hey, this is a great reason to do it. There's so many options for so many different situations, whether it's selling on a fall break, selling around classes, going big for winter break, but we expect everyone to sell at least something for the Olean push and for our top people to compete and go bigger. How do you get trained? It's really office repetition. There could be a virtual office, right, where it means you're watching videos in Vector Connect, that we've recorded everything that happens in an office. You want to learn how to run a great team meeting? There's team meetings online you can watch on Vector Connect. You want to learn how to run a great phone jam? Watch videos on how to run a great phone jam, right? Even if you're somewhere else around the world, you can be office repetition, right, with watching all this stuff happen. If you're lucky enough to be close to an office, obviously you can be working, watching, observing, practicing in your local office. What do I need to know? What does being trained look like? I really think there's 5 main things that you need to know to be fully trained working with us. Number 1 is advertising, some of the basics that go into that, including things like some social media programs that Heather's going to start talking about today, one of our ways to advertise. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about recruiting this afternoon. 2 is you need to know our PR program, right? How to help friends of friends. Some of the best people, word of mouth advertising is the most powerful for everything. Same thing applies for our company here. Number 3 is how to run a basic training seminar, which all of you guys could do right now. You already know how to do the Cutco demo. It's just teaching someone else how to do it. Fast start program, so how to help and coach someone through their first 10 days. The, oh, this is awesome, the, oh, I want to quit, and the building their skills, right? So that they're getting better in those first 10 days of setting up their foundation. And number 5 is demo management. How do you help people just create more appointments? Help them work on their list, running a good phone jam, right? Having them come in and do some extra like morning calls, etc. None of these are that difficult to do. We've got set programs for all of them. It's just a matter of, hey, learning, watching, right, and seeing some of these things. So what are the next steps? When we met last time, we talked about next steps look like October prep, where we are now. October 25th starts our Olean push, and that runs through November 15th. We'll talk about today. The Olean event, the 14th through the 17th. December, our next prep in DC Metro is December 18th, after finals. That'll be our Leadership Academy and our annual holiday party, always one of my favorites. And that will lead us into January. We'll be at winter break. Chance to earn a bunch of income, add to savings, win a trip. And that's where we'll start making decisions on the 4 different paths that we talked about in August. This is what we talked about during the Leadership Academy interview, right? Is, hey, leaving to work another job. Hey, I get this doesn't have to be a good fit for everyone. Sometimes I meet with people who are like, oh, I'm going to get internship next summer. And I'm like, did you just hear what I just talked about? Like, you know you're at the number 12 best place to work, rated top in the, like, unless it's going to be that financially, experience, reputation, then maybe we should talk about you working here. Show me, show me. Let's look at the options, right? Hey, and if it beats on all of those things, you've got my 100% blessing. But unless it checks every box that beats something you already got, we probably should talk about fitting into one of the other paths here. Sales representative. People coming back next summer to crush and lead as role models in our offices. We need people to go for 60, 80, 100 grand next summer to make friggin' bank, to crush push weeks, to be the leaders in your office that take people field training. Sales managers and assistants. We need people to help support the community changing, the world changing that's going on in these markets. Typically, people can't just do it all by themselves, right? But playing that supportive role, that's more of a learning role and working underneath the direct office manager. And then, of course, our district and branch opportunity of someone getting to be that leader and having that opportunity, our most premier opportunity that we have. So when I think about the next couple of years, if I'm sitting here and I'm in school, I'm a freshman, I'm a sophomore, and I'm starting to think about what the next couple of years look like. 2020 isn't just about what you're going to do this summer. It's what do the next few years look like? Where could you tee yourself up to be? And so when I start thinking about what does that look like, hey, in 2020, can you earn a branch spot for this summer? And the first time you run a branch, it's about getting the experience, right? You don't know what you don't know. It's about doing that for the first time. And we have some people that do it for the first time and they freaking crush it, right? Like a Lydia Frensos, who's never done this before, run a branch. A Paige Weber, our top branch in the Northeast region, number 2 branch in the whole company, had never run training, didn't have a whole heck of a lot of experience, but she ended up selling $380,000 as a branch this summer. It was her first time doing it, right? So we've got some exceptions to that, but typically your first time branching is for the experience. So you have a chance to learn a lot about yourself, grow a lot, get a lot of professional experience, add to that resume. And then 2021 is running your second branch. This is where you get to start to compete, right? Typically on a national level, competing within the region. And then third time branch is where you get to scale it. Now it's not just about competing, right? But it's now you've ideally developed some of your own baby branches where they're also running their own offices. And you've scaled this thing where now you're sharing the opportunity with others. They're branching along with you. That came from your office. And then 2023, when you're graduating, is about, hey, you've got some options on the table. Hey, district manager, 6-figure plus income opportunity with some awesome travel and driving a BMW and some of the other cool perks, right? Hey, you've got our Cutco sales professional opportunity where it's, hey, 6-figure income opportunity, traveling the world, doing some cool stuff, right? And not only that if you want to look at other stuff, whether it's medical school, law school, that perfect dream job that you've been working on, that now you're a 5-star recruit. And a 5-star recruit, you might be familiar with in college sports, and I've talked about at different points, but 5-star recruits is you're not knocking down their door. They're knocking down yours. And it's not just about a one-time deal. Most people your age work one little thing here, and they go to school, and they work a little. It's about, can you build this thing so by 2022, 2023, you're in a position of options flooding in that you didn't even know were a thing. And no offense to lifeguarding or bussing tables, it's not going to put you in the spot. These are conversations I'm excited to have as we start looking at building things over the next couple of years. And one of my favorite conversations to have is like, Kate, I don't know what to do after graduation. I've got this one. I've got this one. I've got this one, right? Like, and it's just, that's the spot. Versus what most college students and recent graduates are doing, right? Which is like, well, I just hope I get one, right? I'm not sure how much longer I can live in the basement without having to pay my cell phone bill from my parents, And then eventually they take something that they don't really love, right, or not passionate about, and then they go through the motions of doing it, and then you fast forward and they're 40 and, you've been to Thanksgiving and Christmas and I don't know about you, but this is way more exciting to me. So, we've been growing the last couple years. We have some exciting things going on. We have some cool pieces of our puzzle that have been coming together the last couple years. We're in a special spot right now in so many different ways. As a corporation, product, division, you personally and the seats you're in Leadership Academy of creating options. But what is even more exciting, though, is what's on the horizon for 2020 and 2021 and 2022. I don't know all the answers of exactly what role every person will play yet, and you probably don't know either, and that's okay. But one suggestion is, even with our session today, is keeping an open mind, keeping an open heart, putting yourself in the best position possible for whatever could come your way in the next couple months. and earning to be in the best position of strength you can. Because where we're going is special. If you're here, we've been excited about you so far. We're excited to help you find some sort of spot on our mission and what we're doing. And we hope you are as excited as we are to play a role in that. So we're excited about moving forward. Appreciate your time and energy. I know we're all making sacrifices to be here for a few hours today. And giving you guys props for doing that. It's going to be worth our time, even if it's not on our commission statement this very week, right, for our time and energy. So let me stop there. With that being said, let's take a quick second just to stand up, do a quick stretch. I want you to turn to someone near you here, and I want you to share with them one takeaway from what I just shared. Hey, is there something that just stood out, maybe something that clicked? Sometimes it's even you're hearing something and it's something totally unrelated, and you're like, oh, this just resonated for me, or this idea just came for me, or here's what I'm thinking. So I want everyone to stand up for a second, say hi to someone around you, and I want you to share one takeaway.